Nothing. It's a card from my dad.
What is it? Wait. Dear son, happy Festivus? What is Festivus?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
When George was growing
Jerry,
up,
no.
his father hated all the commercial and religious aspects of Christmas, so he made up his own holiday.
Oh, and another piece of the puzzle falls into place.
All right.
And instead of a tree, didn't your father put up an aluminum pole?
Jerry, stop it.
And then weren't there feats of strength that always ended up with you crying?
Can't take it anymore. I'm going to work. You happy now? That's your message.
And now, it's time for Your Blog Sucks.
Another day, come on, with these ropes tied, can we do no wrong? Now we grieve, 'cause now it's gone. Things were good when we were young. With my teeth back down, I could see the blood of 1,000 men who have come and gone. Now we grieve, 'cause now it's gone. Things were good when we were young. Used to say, come on, was it right to leave? Come on, will I ever learn? Come on, Toronto. I'm in Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto, like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1175 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals. Palma Pasta. Fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees. The Yes, We Are Open podcast, a Moneris podcast production. The Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James, Canada. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Canna Cabana. The lowest prices on cannabis. Guaranteed. And Sammy Cone Real Estate. Ask Sammy any real estate questions at sammy.cone@properlyhomes.ca. Joining me today to celebrate Festivus is my friend Elvis.
First, I'd like to say hello to Chris W., I think his name was. He was a guy who was a fan of mine or our podcast together.
No. His name was Rob J.
What?
What are you talking about?
No,
Are you talking about Your Blog Sucks fan?
No.
Oh.
There was a guy on your TMLX, whatever.
TMLX 11.
You brought him on, and he said he listened, and he was a fan of when we got together.
Okay, what was his name again?
Chris W., I think. So
Okay.
Chris W., shout out to you. But hello, Mike.
Hello, Elvis. Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a few weeks. It's
Yeah,
weird.
so-
We hadn't seen each other for months, and then we saw each other twice in the same month.
You and I co-hosted the TMLX 11 recording at
We did.
Palma's Kitchen.
Yes.
Only a few weeks ago.
It's crazy.
I missed you, but I wanted to say thanks for doing that because you were great.
Thank you.
Although-
I don't agree, but thank you.
I had at least one complaint.
There was a commenter on your blog
About the swears?
About the swears.
Yeah.
It's so great. I love it. People's ears are so gentle.
So I will just warn. I want to warn. How's that? That Elvis swears.
You know,
so.
Merry fucking Christmas. I'm in the Festivus spirit of things, so perhaps I'll take it a little bit easy today.
Are you? So let me just fill everybody in on the fact that we
I got a little phlegm
record
in my
this.
throat.
Did you get a coffee for yourself?
I did. I think that
Did
might
you
have-
drink it already?
Yeah. Well,
What-
no, I
what
had
was
an
it?
espresso.
Okay, but put it that don't
Yeah,
crack
yeah,
that
yeah.
open on
Can
the
I
mic.
open it? Can I open
yeah,
it?
but on the mic. On the mic. So Elvis has opened up a Canuck Pale Ale, everybody,
Thank you.
courtesy of Great Lakes Brewery.
So not a criticism at all, because I love Great Lakes, I really do. But when I didn't realize they did home delivery
in the GTA.
in the GTA, and then I checked while I was at TMLX, and they don't deliver to North Oshawa.
That's not the GTA.
But totally understandable.
They do Pickering, though, I'm sure. Yeah, they do GTA home delivery, but you have to go to... although I was just on the... This is my second episode today, so I'm trying to set the table to tell people that we... every year, you visit on Festivus, and we record on Festivus. Festivus, as we know, is December 23rd. But as we speak, Elvis, it's December 22nd.
It's sacrilege.
Why are you here? See, I know the answer.
Is there such a thing as sacrilege of Festivus? I guess. I don't know.
Why are you here the evening of December 22nd for an episode I won't even drop until December 23rd?
Well, I'm looking at my phone, and there is a winter storm warning until 11/11, Friday, December 23rd. So we decided to play it safe. We knew that the people needed this. They need this every year. People look forward to this episode.
They do, actually.
You know, and even if no one does look forward to this, I don't even know what they do. I look forward to it. I really enjoy shooting the shit with you for, excuse me, a couple
Did
of
you
hours.
just burp?
I did.
You drop an F-bomb, you belch on the microphone.
Sorry, it's been a crazy day.
And you call yourself a broadcaster.
And it's been a crazy day. Anyway, I'll get into it. But we couldn't miss this.
Okay.
We couldn't miss this, right?
No, I'm glad you're doing this because I was like, and I don't like buy into the hyperbole or whatever, but I'm also like a reasonable guy. So I would say, based on what I've been reading, tomorrow's a good day to like not make a big drive on the 401, right? Like,
right.
So I saw the term generational storm. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and then I go into Environment Canada and it says, okay, so it's going to rain a lot, right? Because it's going to be above zero rain. And then at some point it's going to be...
For you.
Yeah, I only looked at Toronto.
Right. Then outside the city is going to be like lots of snow and stuff.
Okay, so do you have snow right now in your
like
North
on
Oshawa?
my lawn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you notice
We do.
there's no snow here.
Yes,
Like,
we have
it's
snow.
gone.
That was my concern. Was I couldn't anticipate the variation of weather from where I'm coming from to here
Right.
and everything in between. There was too many variables.
The temp's going to plummet at some point, like, I don't know when, but like, I don't know.
Tomorrow morning, I think, at least
Like
for me.
11 or so. So you're
Yeah.
going to have all this rain, and then it's going to get down to like -8. And I learned this in primary school, Elvis. Stay with me here. But when water freezes, it turns to ice. And you don't want to be driving ice. So
No,
you're
even
here
with
now.
snow tires, you're fucked.
Smart guy. Okay.
Yeah. Did you hear some places in the States are like minus 40, 50 degrees?
It's like that
crazy.
in Monica's homeland of Edmonton. It is like minus 45 degrees.
Yeah, because they're getting it. They got it like the last couple of days, right?
Did you know that's like the temperature where like Celsius and Fahrenheit married? They get together at like minus 44.
I thought it was more like 20.
Oh, why do I think it's like minus 44?
But yeah, you're definitely right in the minuses. I thought it was sooner than that, but it could be that. But yeah,
See, what do I
they
know?
definitely get to be closer.
You're
to,
the one who works with the Americans. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So thank you for coming tonight so we could get Festivus in. I hear from people like, because this week I do, what did I do? I did Toast, and then I did Christmas Crackers Volume 5 with Ed Conroy. I was going to point out, Ed gets his Great Lakes beer in the Port Perry Loblaws. So he goes to his Loblaws in Port Perry and he picks up his Great Lakes brew.
I don't normally go to the grocery stores to buy my beer, but I should check to see if it's
they
there.
they have Octopus Wants to Fight there and the Canuck Pale Ale.
Oh, I
and
should
everything.
go. Maybe I'll check out my Loblaws. It's actually not a Loblaws. It's a Great Canadian Superstore, I think it's called.
Wow. Mine's a no frills. Okay, but no beer there. I'm going to crack open my burst and join you with the Great Lakes.
It's kind of funny that it's much harder to get beer than it is weed. How far we've come / maybe not gone far at all.
Right.
In the last 3 years. That's talk about turning things
Have you
upside down.
started smoking any weed or you? No, you don't have
I
any
can't even
interest in
remember.
smoking?
I remember the last time, but it's more than a decade ago.
Okay, will you do me a favor though? Like if you decide one day you're going to become a
I don't even
pothead.
know where Canis Cabana is or
There's Canna Cabana.
Canna Cabana.
There's probably a Canna Cabana in Oshawa. I bet you if we search that up.
I'll do it.
Now, there's some cities where you can't have it, like Mississauga, for example.
You can't? How come?
They made a city bylaw where you can't sell cannabis in the city. So, like, Canna Cabana is not there's no cannabis stores in Mississauga.
Really? 'Cause
and I
they
think
must have
Brampton might be the same.
They must have put them all in Oshawa because
Well, Toronto sure
everywhere.
has them. Toronto sure has them. But
it's crazy.
I will quickly here, since we're drinking our Great Lakes and celebrating Festivus, and we have a lot of ground to cover, we're going to kick out jams. I'm going to give you guys the theme in a minute. It's kind of an exciting theme. So this is going to be kind of like a toast-esque, I guess. But Canna Cabana will not be undersold on cannabis or cannabis accessories. What did you learn? Is there a Canna Cabana in Oshawa?
No, there's one in Ajax, which would I'm still going. There's a lot of them. There's
140 across the country.
Get out of here.
And growing, yeah. So I keep reading about cannabis shops are shutting down because there's too many. But Andy Palalis at Canna Cabana, who I talked to this morning, tells me they're growing.
I think there's got to be some sort of consolidation that's got to happen, right? Now these guys clearly have like a lot of.
They're High Tide.
Momentum.
That's the if you want to invest in the stock market, you invest in High Tide. High Tide owns Canna Cabana.
I think the closest it looks like for me is Ajax, but Ajax isn't all that bad. I
Not
can
too bad.
make the trip to Ajax.
And
for
you know,
these guys.
Elvis, I'll tell you this: you don't have to smoke it, right? Like a lot of people don't want to smoke stuff, but you can drink it and you can eat it. And I will just let the listenership know that there's going to be an episode in late January with Andy and I. It's called the Edibles episode, and everything you wanted to know about edibles, but we're afraid to ask. And it's going to start with
take
me.
them?
Yeah, at the beginning. So he's going to give me some edibles at the beginning. Then during the recording, you will check in and see how I'm doing.
When was the last time you partook in cannabis? If you don't mind,
I don't mind.
answering that?
Yeah, at the Black Crowes concert in July.
Gotcha. Edibles as well, or oil, or what?
No, that was I was smoking a fatty with Canada Kev and my buddy Stu Stone. Yeah, and
Right
the
on.
funny thing is that I don't smoke a lot of weed, so
There was caffeine involved.
Usually I start low and I go slow, but Canada Cabana at
She
this
said.
concert, he just passed me this. It looked like it was a freaking sandwich or whatever, like it was a baguette. He passed this baguette, and I just said, when in Rome, and I just enjoyed it because I was biking home anyways. Hey, I have a couple of questions for you.
Oh, boy.
Before we pay respect to the first FOTMs ever to pass away. This is the calendar year 2022 in which an FOTM died for the first time, and then a second one died. We lost two. Prior to 2022, we have never lost an FOTM. Okay. And by FOTM, I don't mean the listenership, because sadly we have lost many a listener.
Oh, you mean like a guest?
Guest.
Ah, okay.
Guest.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Are you still in the market for a Tesla?
No. Have not been for a long,
When
long
did that
time.
change? Because you were big on
Years
it. You were
ago.
big on it, weren't you?
Years ago. I was only big on it because they had announced that there was going to be like a $35,000 version of it. And I put $1,000 deposit on it. And I think like 2 or 3 years later, it still wasn't even close to being produced. And so I opted out of that a long time ago, got my money back.
Do you is your current automobile burning fossil fuels?
One out of, well, I guess technically both of them are. I have green plates on one, but it's a true hybrid in the sense that I can go 100% electric.
Okay.
And it also has an engine in it. And then the other one
Right.
I have is a fossil fuel.
What is that, like a
vehicle.
Leaf?
No,
What
it's a Jeep Wrangler.
Okay, look at you, buddy. Okay, I was just going to get a Tesla update from you because earlier today I had my first ride in a Tesla because
Oh, really? Was it a Uber or something?
No, humble Howard Glassman is driving a Tesla, and he came over
very
to
good.
drop off some stuff, and then
What'd
he
you
took me
think?
for a ride. Well, it was smooth, like it was silent.
Smooth
but you have to get
operator.
a smooth operator that gets the job done. Quiet AF.
Uh-huh.
That means as fuck. Okay. Quiet AF, and he showed off this acceleration where
It's
we
crazy.
went- it was like it was in a rocket ship, and it was scary.
It's nuts.
And it's all being run off an iPad, right? It's all on the iPad, and everything's done on there.
It's really weird when I drive my Jeep in my neighborhood on electric, which I do. For the most part, my driving is full electric because I'm just in the neighborhood. The downfall is that no one knows that I'm coming. So the kids are playing in the street. Like I got to be extra
cyclists,
careful.
because when I cycle, which I do quite a bit, Mr. Elvis, I can hear the cars coming.
Yeah.
Like it'd be strange to there's
Yeah.
a car there.
I've definitely startled a few people on the street for sure. They got to be extra careful.
Yeah, and before we paid the respects to the FOTMs who passed away, I realized we need to do a little reset here, just a quick one.
Oh boy.
Because no, not a big deal, but I got a Apple Podcast comment from somebody who's like, I love Toronto Mike, but one day I'm listening. Maybe it's last year's
Oh,
Festivus.
is this guy?
Yeah. And
Or
I'm
girl.
listening. I don't know gender, but I'm listening, and there's this
Weird
guy Elvis on,
and there's no
and
context.
I don't know who this is, and he never explained who it was. And I realized, like, I just assume everyone was listening since day one. Okay,
But,
so
can I just say, in your defense,
in my defense, yeah.
this guy or girl or other is not listening, because you clearly defined who I was at the beginning of
I don't
the show.
think I do.
You absolutely did.
How?
You said, I am here with my friend
My
Elvis.
friend Elvis. Okay, so it's just a friend. I guess that this person I could imagine who might have come by in the last couple years. A lot of people, there was these waves, right? Like in the last couple years, there's been a lot of people who found the show, especially since the Toronto Star article that's hanging on my
Yeah,
wall
I
behind
noticed
you.
that.
So they all think like every guest is famous for something, and if you're not even sure who it is, at least we talk about like why you should know this person, or like who is this person? They wrote a book about this, and we talk about that, whatever. But for you, there's never any context, because I just assume like
I'm not Gino Vanelli.
I assume every listener is like, I'll use somebody randomly who was at TMLX11. Every listener is Moose Grumpy. Okay,
Right.
Moose is like your biggest fan. Like Moose Grumpy loves the Elvis
She's a
episodes,
good person.
and she was there from pretty early on, and she loved it when you were co-hosting back in the day. So here's an opportunity for you, Mr. Elvis, first to tell people like if your name is really Elvis, and then to tell us like who the hell are you? Give a little context to who you are.
I was not prepared for this. I've been friends with Mike since what? I don't even
Since
remember
you
when.
gave me that job in porno.
Yeah, it really was. That was probably 2006. I want to say
I actually know it's
2000.
it's not 6. Oh, you
It's
know
6
what?
or 7,
It's
I would
5 or
say.
6. It's going to be
5 or
6.
6?
It's 6 then.
because I started that job in 5, and I didn't think it was in the first year, but it could have been. So yeah, I'm going to say
But in
6.
7 is when I take that job at Profix, right? But I go
Okay,
back to
so
another job, so
6.
it's got to be 6. Yeah.
Okay, so I met you in 2006, and we've been friends ever since. It's very there's. Let me just think of the people. So I was a recruiter at the time.
And you recruited me for a job in porn, like that's an
Correct.
actual fact.
Yes, that is a fact. I recruited
Because
not
of my huge penis.
Not. I was just gonna say, not behind the scenes, but in front of the scenes. We were that kind of
But
agency.
in front of the scenes suggests the actors and actresses.
Correct.
You mean
I was
behind
making a
the-
joke.
Oh, you're
I was
making a
making a
joke. Okay.
You have a face for podcasting. Let's just put it that way.
But a penis for porn.
You were a stunt penis. That's what we were hiring for. We were hiring
For the money shot.
the stunt penis. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I was of all the people that I've ever recruited in my life, which was pretty substantial over 6 years. There's only one person, really, I think, after all this time, that I still remain in contact
I'm
with.
honored.
And that's you.
That's amazing.
But I wouldn't even say it like that. Sounds so ridiculous. It's
and that's
because
16 years.
There's a but
Is that math right? No, it's not 6. Yeah,
I wouldn't
16
say that
years.
we keep in contact. We're friends, right? We're
Right.
friends.
Yeah, we're
right?
friends, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, we've been
of
friends for a
course.
long time. I went
You
to your wedding.
co-hosted TMLX11.
Yeah, I went to your wedding. I know your wife. I know your kids.
Yeah.
You know my wife.
I was
my
at
kids.
TFC with you. You tried to give me
Yes,
COVID.
yes, we've been there. Yeah,
So that's
That's
so
right,
the
yes.
final home game of TFC. You took me because you have seats in the supporter section.
Correct.
I was your guest.
Yes.
So we sat there and watched this. It didn't
Yes.
actually have any like playoff implications because we were already eliminated, but it was nice to be there and see the final game.
correct.
And then that weekend, so that's like a Friday. And
Correct.
that weekend, you're in bed with COVID.
Sunday, I was in bed all day without being able to get out of bed. It was, and I had. Excuse
Is
me.
that COVID right there?
No, I had 2 full weeks, 14 full days of fatigue and just grossness. And then on day 15, I woke up and I felt better. And then it took a few more days to get back to 100%, but I had 14 full days of COVID, of which the first day was one of the worst, and that was less than 48 hours after I made out with you and we said goodbye
Pretty much,
from
yeah.
BMO.
Pretty much made it.
It's crazy. Like, how did you not get it? That I don't know how you wouldn't have got it because
I don't
I mean
know.
you're you know.
But I did eventually get
but
it.
you got it recently. That I
Super recently.
listened to an episode. It was the 8-minute
Yeah.
and 37-second
Perfect
episode
length
of
for you. That's what she said.
Hey-o!
Hey, that's how I got the job in porn. Okay, let's discuss. Let's address the fact that I call you Elvis. Okay, so here's a little bit of.
If you're not here with me, and when those blue snowflakes start falling,
A little blue Christmas here. Is your real name Elvis?
Yes.
Okay. You can control the narrative. I don't care. What do I care? All right, so
It's-
Elvis.
yeah, I say that it's not on my birth certificate, but people have called me Elvis since probably grade 12.
I called you Elvis because
I don't even remember why. Because that's what I wanted to go by on the podcast?
no, because it's way before that. I believe I called you Elvis because when I first met you, I saw on your license plate it said
right.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Like Elvis Run or something like
Yeah.
that. Am I
Yeah,
doxing you with that?
Yeah.
Don't get a personalized license unless you want to get doxed or whatever. Okay. So just the final context here is this is a guy I've known since 06. He got me a job in pornography. We hit it off. I like
So
the guy.
fantastic.
He was at my wedding in 2013 or whatever. You sat at the infamous Humble and Fred table with
I did.
Rosie and Anthony Petrucci of Palma Pasta.
Who didn't actually sit down for most of the wedding because he was working.
I put him to work and like get to work, earn your supper. He's got a lasagna here for you to take home, Elvis. You're taking home
Oh,
a
he doesn't
Palma
need to do
Pasta
that.
lasagna.
Thank you, Anthony. He doesn't need to do that.
Well, he doesn't need to, but every guest gets one. Why would you be any different? So every guest of Toronto Mike leaves with a lasagna. You've got your Great Lakes. I want to just rub something out. No, I want to rub something in your nose here. Can you look at that? What is that postcard? What does it look like to you? This is Elvis is reading. I put something in front of him. It is like a Christmas card.
It's a Christmas card from Mike Epple.
I'm on Mike Epple's Christmas card list.
Let's
not
that's
bury
wonderful.
the lead here.
I see him every morning on TV.
Are you on his Christmas card list?
I am not on his Christmas card
Okay.
list.
So when he heard Festivus episode was taking place, he tweeted that he has many, many grievances. And Mike Epple's a good egg because he sent me a Christmas card. Like I thought that was amazing.
That's very nice of him.
So
And
thank you.
he's in my hood, my neck of the woods.
Right.
He's in
Durham region.
He's in Durham region.
Okay.
We don't really do grievances necessarily. I do feats of strength.
Well, if you
with my
have
kids.
any grievances, do you have any?
No.
Okay, well, maybe some will leak out
there's
during
usually,
the chat or
there's
whatever.
usually things that pop up that, well, there's one in particular that usually comes up that we like to go off on, but nothing really in particular, I don't think.
Okay, then let's pay respect to a couple of FOTMs who passed away. This is the first year I've ever had to do this. The first FOTM, and by FOTM I mean friend of Toronto Mike, I mean guest of Toronto Mike. So this is episode 1175. And they're not all unique guests, but we're at about 600 plus unique guests at this point. No guest of Toronto Mike has died until 2022. The first FOTM to die, Andrew Crystal.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
Do you know Andrew Crystal?
Of course. Well, I don't know him personally, no,
Oh,
but of course I know him, yes.
Who was he?
He's infamous in Toronto radio.
Where
I
did you
think,
listen to him?
Well, definitely the fan experiment is probably what I remember him most from, correct?
Right, morning show.
But what he was on he on Mojo?
He was on Mojo.
Yeah, Mojo.
For sure.
Yeah. So I would have known him mostly from Mojo, but then when they brought him over to the fan for the morning show, that was when it was kind of like, what is happening? I got to listen to this guy.
Terrible
for sure.
hire. Terrible.
Didn't work
move.
out very well, I don't think.
No.
It did he address did he talk about that at all in your podcast?
Of course.
with him?
Yeah, but that was a bit bananas episode anyway because
It
he
was.
just sort
I
of,
remember, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he did talk about that. But he's one of the two like puzzling hires for that morning show in the history of the Fan 59. But although now we're at a point where I don't even know who's doing the morning show. Like it's just
Isn't it Dan Schulman's son or something?
no, I think it's Chris Cuthbert's son.
Oh, okay, that's it. I knew
but
it was.
Dan
it was-
Schulman's son is like
He does-
he does do work
I've seen him on Tim and Friends.
Blue Jays radio.
Yeah, I've seen him on Tim and Friends.
Ben, I think his
Yeah,
name is. So
yeah, yeah.
there's a little nepotism going on in Sportsnet, but that's okay.
He sounds like his dad too.
Well, that'll serve him well.
Yeah.
So, Andrew Crystal, the first one to pass away. Now, the second one, I bet you don't even know who this guy is. Al Mayer.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
Alexander Mayer started Attic Records. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, okay. I have a awesome back in the day like box set of Attic Records.
like Haywire. Is that, or you know who else was on that label? Lee Aaron was on that thing, and then Triumph maybe. But definitely Maestro Fresh West was released on Attic. There's a whole bunch of Canadian artists that were promoted on Attic Records, but. Anyway, Al Mayer came on the program. He just got the Order of Canada, and sadly, he passed away from cancer. So,
Oh, that's too bad.
and I still don't have a cause of death for Andrew Crystal. I was told he had a heart attack, but I didn't get any specifics or whatnot. But yeah, so we lost a couple FOTMs. So shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Hopefully next year we don't lose any because I had a great streak going, like almost a decade before the first guest passed away. So what are you looking at there, Elvis?
Creed was on them.
Well, Creed,
in Canada.
Well, maybe a Canadian thing because Creed was a big fucking American rock band. But
Yeah, but that's who it is.
okay,
Their Canadian label was Creed for whatever reason.
okay, what do you know? You never know. Oh, I think
There's a
Weird
lot
Al
of people.
Yankovic too. Now that I'm thinking about it, Weird Al. I
House of
believe.
Pain.
House of Pain. Okay.
Judas Priest.
Wow.
I think that they had distribution.
And you're looking at
That's
course,
what I'm
of
guessing.
course, of course. So
Motorhead. The Nylons. Wow, remember the Nylons?
I had Billy Newton Davis on the program.
Run
in
DMC.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's why I remember the box that I have. I think it was 5 CDs, and there was a lot of obviously they led with a lot of the bigger bands versus.
cool.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic is definitely on there. Good job, Mike.
Cool. So before I introduce the theme of our jam kicking, and then we'll get to some songs, there's one non-FOTM who passed away that I want to get your thoughts on because I think you'll have a lot to say about it. In 2022, we lost Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, we did.
You're a big Howard Stern guy. I know you're a big Gilbert Gottfried guy. I love Gilbert. What say you? And if you want to cry, please do. It's my favorite part of these Festivus episodes. What say you, Elvis, about the passing of Gilbert Gottfried?
Certainly sad. I mean, he was a strange fellow. It seems like, based on what you hear about him, and that, he's anyway incredibly funny. I'm not going to cry. I mean, it's not talking like Gord Downey. I think we cried for three episodes in a row or something like that one time. But I incredibly funny and knew where the line was and wasn't afraid to cross that line, which I appreciated about him. Maybe told a couple of jokes that got him into trouble and cost him
He
some
was
income.
fearless.
But ultimately, based on what I have heard about him, is that he was a weird dude and for whatever reason was able to actually get married and have kids, which if you hear what some of his colleagues had to say about him, and even when he was alive, they were surprised that was even able to happen.
Right.
Apparently he was an incredibly dysfunctional type of person, I think. And they were just surprised that, he was able to have a somewhat normal life. And never was out of character, that voice, right? He never dropped
there's
the
that
voice.
one voicemail that leaked out that he left for Baba Booey. So there was one voicemail where he
Right.
was, and then somebody leaked that and it ends up on YouTube. But that's the only time I've heard Gilbert out of character.
He's always with that voice. But incredibly...
It's hard to do that voice.
It's incredibly funny.
Speaking of crying,
Do we know why he died?
cancer.
Cancer.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
Have you ever had cancer, Elvis?
I have.
That's part of your story, right?
Yeah, it sucks. I think that was one of the first times I was on the podcast with you and Rosie. You got me to tell my story.
And you've been cancer-free for a while
For a
now.
while now, yeah, since I don't even know. The 24th, though, is my anniversary. One of my anniversaries that
The Christmas Eve?
Yeah, Christmas Eve is my very first test,
Okay.
negative test that came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. You look healthy.
Thank you.
You look like a bag of shit.
Yeah,
but just
I
your
do.
normal bag of shit is what you look
Yeah,
like here.
exactly.
Do you remember how much you cried when this man died?
A lot. This was...
Go ahead.
This is a shock. This was one of those celebrity...
But he did a lot of coke.
This was a celebrity cry fest that I didn't expect to have. For whatever reason, this one hit me like a ton of bricks when George Michael died. Oh man, I love this song. This is like I have a playlist on my phone. I hate Christmas, horribly so.
I do too, actually.
However, I do have a playlist, and I'll show it to Mike so that he can see it. It's called Christmas Horseshit.
Okay.
And there's 5 songs on it that this time of year I will listen to.
Okay, let me hear the 5.
Mistress for Christmas.
Of course.
By AC/DC.
AC/DC, right.
Last Christmas by
Yeah.
Wham. Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid. Melikalekimaka by Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters. And then for whatever reason, I listen to We Are the World. Because I tie these two together. This is Christmas to me. This song. One lyric in particular sort of sums up my feeling of the entire season. And I have to thank my good friend Bono for delivering it to us. Because it really just...
There's George again.
Yeah, it is. The videos are. I watched the videos the other day. It's quite something. The 80s were an interesting time. He had a lot of.
Yes, sir.
There was a couple of people there that were singing for longer than you get to later in the song. It's coming up. He's here. Bono's in it. Tell us about Christmas.
Okay, Elvis, go off on that line
It's
here.
just-
Thank God it's
just-
them instead of you.
It totally sums up the real season itself. Like the whole, everyone's in it for themselves. All you have to do is just drive in anywhere on the streets or in a parking lot and you realize that no one gives a shit about all the things that they think Christmas is about. It's all about proving how much you can give somebody else, because that's how we value people's love and friendships, is by what material items they give us, and fuck everyone else around you because they're in your way. Push them down. You know, that's why Festivus actually means something, because it was started by George Costanza's dad pushing down people in the toy store to get George a doll
There
that he
had
wanted.
to be a better way, right?
And this is the true meaning of the season.
No
is-
religion and no commercialism.
Correct.
And you know what? It's like I actually just, my neighbor Chi and I were chatting the other day about Christmas, and I looked her in the eyes, and I mean every word. Her name is Chi, and I meant every word of this. If I didn't have kids, this is the truth. If I didn't have kids, I would 100% opt out of this entire ridiculous holiday. Like it just would.
I still don't know is Santa Jesus. I'm not sure. I don't know what the thing is there. And then the the
Okay,
whole.
but my kids know, and I know they can probably hear me, but I'm not going to say anything. So this is safe for work.
Yeah.
My kids know that when they wake up on Christmas morning, Santa will have been there and will have left them presents.
Correct.
Okay, and they know Santa and Jesus are not the same person. Like Santa, there's no in my home. Okay, in my home, Jesus isn't invited to Christmas. Just Santa. So Santa's going to leave presents. The reindeer will have eaten the carrot, and then maybe Santa will have had a cookie and some milk. And this will be a wonderful morning when Morgan and Jarvis see what Santa left them.
It really just is. It highlights the hypocrisy of the season. That lyric there is just it's fantastic. Because it really just it says exactly what is happening right now.
And
no one
remind
cares
me,
about anybody else.
Did he went on the record to say he regrets that line, right?
Well, I think
and it was. But did Bob Geldof write that line?
I believe so. I believe Bob is the one who's credited with writing.
Well, that's
the song,
his baby there. And did you say one of your Christmas songs is "We Are the World"?
yeah.
But why not the better "Tears Are Not Enough"?
Oh, that is on my list.
Okay.
I just, for whatever reason, it's not available. Weirdly enough, it's not available on Apple Music.
Well, that's
I don't know why.
That's ridiculous. Okay,
But that would be the trifecta. Is
I know why
those
it's not
three.
available. It's got Neil Young in there. No, that's not Apple. That's Spotify. My apologies. Okay. I want to give you a measuring tape. Happy Festivus. This is courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home.
Shout out
If you
to
need to
Ridley
measure something, you've got a measuring tape.
I
What
can
are you going to
measure
measure?
your penis.
Well, you did. That's how I got the job.
To see if it's still.
It was a before and after ad for enlargement pumps. I think.
I like this.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's handy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not even done yet. You're a good guy. Pull out the white thing on the bottom. You see that white?
Oh, you
tab?
really want me to do
pull
that?
out the white thing?
Okay.
Yeah. Now that is a functioning flashlight.
Whoa, that'll be good for the generational storm.
Yeah, the generational
When the power
storm.
goes out.
Right. No, seriously. Yes.
Yes.
I use it all the time. We lose the remote, and I grab my Ridley Funeral Home flashlight, and I look under the couch, and there it is.
Well,
Morgan's
I
dropped
could.
it.
When you pull out your penis later, and I go to
I mean,
measure
later.
it,
It's out
if
right now.
If I can't find
Take a
it,
look.
I can just use the flashlight to see where it is.
Yeah. And you,
I love it.
I just realized you don't get the Mike
I
Apple
can't keep the
Christmas
Mike Apple
card. No,
Christmas
that's
card.
mine.
My wife would like that.
All right, so thank you, Ridley Funeral Home, for your support in 2022.
They're good people.
Yeah, well, Brad was here yesterday kicking out his 3 favorite Christmas songs
I've
of all
met
time.
Brad a few times now, and I do enjoy
He
it.
was at TMLX 11.
Did he have any of my Christmas horseshit?
No, he had
horse shit?
something by Garth Brooks, and he had White
Okay.
Christmas by Bing Crosby,
Yeah,
and he
classic.
had Bob and Doug McKenzie's 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh, that would be a good one to add.
Have
on
you
my
listened
list.
to Dave Thomas on Toronto Mike yet?
No.
Get the fuck out of my basement.
Should I?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Okay. Well, I ask you this all the time.
Donovan Bailey. I know what you're gonna ask.
Who is the most
famous
person you've had on your podcast?
It's either Chuck D or Donovan Bailey. Oh, in the basement or on the podcast?
On the podcast.
Donovan Bailey or Chuck D?
Not Ron McLean, you don't think?
Well, both those two people
Brian
I named
Williams?
are more famous than Ron McLean.
You think?
Well, are we talking world
Chuck
famous?
D, I think Chuck D would probably be the most famous, no?
Yeah, but remember, and I am a little biased because he's here every week and we become good friends, but Donovan Bailey was he was Usain Bolt before Usain Bolt. He was the fastest man in the world and had the world record for the 100 meter.
Listen, I agree. However, I'm wondering if someone from Austin, Texas were to pull up the podcast, would they immediately know who Donovan Bailey is? I'm not sure they would.
So maybe it is Chuck D.
No offense to Donovan Bailey.
Maybe it is Chuck D. But then Donovan Bailey would be the most famous Canadian I've had on this show.
You get, but it's funny, because I do scroll through the ads that you post online.
They're called promotions.
In between your blog posts. And this question comes up often. You do get some really big-time guests. Like
Dave Thomas is a big one, and he was fantastic. But
Gino
he did not,
Vanelli.
yes,
That's
Gino
big.
was in the basement, so that gets bonus points. Although
Maestro?
Donovan's been in the basement, Maestro's been in the
Maestro's
basement.
big.
But Dave Thomas zoomed in because he lives in California, so there's a
Right.
bit of a thing. But at least Chuck not in the basement, but in person.
Yes, that was in a
which is
gymnasium
key.
or something.
It was in the
wasn't
back of the C&E grandstand.
That's what it was.
Not
Yeah.
quite a gymnasium, but
And it was short. It was like 20 minutes. Or
I only
something,
had
right?
20 minutes with the band.
Yeah, but that would make sense because
Wow.
he had to do a show and stuff. Like, what is he going to do? Sit down with you for a?
No comment. I think he could have done longer. I think he wanted to, but he had a handler who
He
was
had
giving
people.
me the evil eyes.
He had
and
people, right.
Wrap up signs here. Okay.
Yes. Do you still have the rule of not generally working with PR people?
It's not as black and white now because there have been a few guests that I had to go through PR for, but I really do I had a bad experience with somebody.
I remember. Yeah.
Well, that okay, but more recently,
Okay.
on Twitter, there's a woman. Do you know the name Patricia Juggernaut?
No.
Does that name me anything? Okay,
That's
she
made
was
up.
on CP24 for many years. Okay, doing
That's like a
weather.
fucking. She's like a Marvel.
Did you ever watch
is she
CP24?
a fucking Avenger or something? That's an amazing handle.
Patricia
What an amazing name.
Juggernaut.
That's a fucking great name.
She might be an Avenger.
That's fantastic.
Do you ever watch CP24?
No, I don't watch.
Because
I
you're
don't watch CP24.
loyal to breakfast television.
I also don't have cable,
Okay,
so I get what I get over the
Over
air
the
or
air.
whatever I can stream.
that's a good reason. Okay,
So yeah.
she left in a blaze of glory, as Bon Jovi would say. She quit her gig at CP24 and filed a
Jovi.
complaint with
Oh really?
Human Rights Tribunal. Do we have that in
yeah,
Canada?
yeah. In Ontario, yes.
Yeah, she said she claims that she was overlooked for promotions because she is a black woman.
Okay. Oh, I think I remember.
Okay, so this was
story.
kind of news because she's got grievances. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
then-
Legit grievances.
Somebody just tweeted at me that I should get her story, which of course that's what I do, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
I give a safe space and she could tell her story. And then someone tweeted at me, you should have Patricia. So I replied back and said, I would love to have Patricia J on the podcast. Like I tagged her.
Yep.
And then that Twitter account, I'm purposely wording it that way. The Twitter account replies back, I'd love to come on Toronto, Mike. Let's do it. So my next move is I slide into her DMs.
Heyo.
And I'm like, let's schedule it. Like, I would love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we went back and forth, very awkward and uncomfortable like exchanges for about 4 weeks, and it had got moved to email very quickly. And all these emails were coming from the Patricia J team, and they were signed by the name Johnny. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Jani. And a little Googling taught me this was Patricia's fiance. So all my correspondence, and I believe the tweet was actually him too. And I believe my DMs were him now because all the tonnage and the style was the same as these emails, which were being signed as.
You got catfished.
Well, not too much catfish because the emails at least were signed Johnny. But all the other correspondence was not. But
fair.
I know it's him. So I don't think, to this, as I speak to you, Elvis, I don't think I've ever corresponded with Patricia directly.
I would imagine, though, that if you were in the midst of a case, like you wouldn't want to come and talk about it. Do people do that?
I don't know. But then why tweet at me that you would love to come on Toronto Mike? Like you didn't
never
have
know.
to do
You
that.
never know what's happening on the other end.
Anyway, I don't
Have
think
you
that's
ever
gonna happen.
tweeted when you maybe weren't of sound mind? Come on. I'm sure you have.
Are you suggesting
I'm
Janny was not of sound mind? when
I'm
he
not
tweeted
suggesting
this?
about him anyway. I just, like he could, you could, you might have tweeted in the past when you were taking your edibles,
I'll be
or
honest.
that big fatty, or you were angry maybe, or it just like.
Well, that's my secret. I'm always angry. Okay. We haven't introduced the theme yet. We got to get to the jams. You'll be
Jesus.
here all night. Okay. So we're kicking out thematic jams.
I did pack a bag actually, just in case the storm blew in.
Well,
I did.
tonight James is at his mom's house, which means there's actually a bed around
Perfect.
the corner, and you could a nice comfortable
I
bed.
I did come prepared. I don't know what's going to come.
You don't know. It could freeze
Yeah.
up tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
We're kicking out our favorite jams from supergroups.
Good idea, right?
Was that your idea?
It was.
Okay, good. Yeah, it was a good idea.
I had asked a buddy of mine. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go do this. What do you think?" And he gave me a couple of ideas, of which they weren't that, but he led me down the path where I got to like, "Hey, why don't we do supergroups?" But I called them. Remember, I wasn't calling them supergroups. I was like,
What were you calling them?
super bands or something. I think
they're
super.
supergroups. Okay. So we're going to go one by one. We're going to start Elvis, then me. We're going to each kick out 5 jams we love from supergroups. And it's kind of fun because sometimes there's some bands you didn't know were supergroups.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to talk about whether they're a supergroup or not.
Can I give you my rules?
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting.
Thank you
that
for telling me the rule after I picked my jams. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Oh my god.
You know why
I'm
you
really-
belch on the mic?
I-
Because Howard Stern belches on the mic.
No, I don't.
Doesn't he?
I opted out of choosing any charity super bands
That's
or
not-
super
yeah,
groups.
right.
You know, like We Are the World or Band Aid
Yeah,
or whatever.
you should opt out of those.
Anything that was done for a charity, I wanted to also choose bands that actually had albums released
Yep,
by
good
them, not
idea.
just singles.
Good
They
idea.
had to have a full band.
Me too.
And I wanted at least 2 members of the band to come from a previous band that was relatively well known.
Do they have to come from a band, or could they just be
They could be
successful
solo.
soloists?
They could be solo
So
as well.
so far I agree with all your rules.
There you go.
So if these are like 4 guys from 4 bands you've never heard of, we're not kicking them out.
Right.
here.
And I also told you that I was eliminating the 2 just for my sake for the 2 most obvious super bands.
Which are
You could very well have picked them, but I didn't go for the super obvious
okay. Well,
ones.
don't even name them then, because
Okay.
I probably kicked them out.
Okay,
'cause,
you might have.
I like to I kicked out December jams the other day.
Yeah.
And one of the songs I kicked out was Collective Soul's song December.
Oh, nice.
And then I think Rob Bruce, I don't know who it was, somebody said it was a little on the nose. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole fucking point. And then I kicked out Long December by Counting
Oh, yeah,
Crows.
good one.
Yeah, it's on the nose.
there
I
are
like it. Okay.
2. If we don't hear them, I'll say it at the end.
We'll
But
say
there
it
are
at the end, we can hear
2
it.
sort of like iconic super bands. And if you end up playing, the last thing I'll say is if you play Led Zeppelin, I'm leaving.
I do not have Led Zeppelin on my
Because
list.
technically, it would.
Yardbirds? Like, where are
Yeah.
they coming from?
Yeah,
Yardbirds,
see,
is Jimmy
Yardbirds is
Page,
not.
right?
Yeah, Yardbirds is not in my mind.
But what's
not
the
a
other
popular
band? Just help me out. Well, Yardbirds, I would accept. What's the second band?
I don't know.
So you worry about that. Well, I just thank quickly. I want to thank Raymond James Canada for their support. They have a great podcast called the Advantaged Investor Podcast, and it features insights from leading professionals, providing valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focus on long-term success. On that note, Elvis, did you invest in Tesla? Like, I know we talked
No.
about whether you'd buy a Tesla. I'm just curious because apparently it's down like 70% of this calendar year or something like that. I'm just curious.
No, I did not.
Okay. But if you are curious about investments and such, Raymond James Canada has the podcast for you, the Advantaged Investor Podcast. And I would love to shout out FOTM Al Grego on his award-winning podcast, Yes, We Are Open, which is a Moneris podcast production. He's been telling the stories of Canadian small businesses and their perseverance in the face of overwhelming adversity. You, Elvis, probably, in fact, I know because I witnessed it, you met Al Grego at TMLX 11.
Not for the first time, yes.
Not for the first time, because I think Al's been to all TMLX events. So anytime you show up, you've seen him there. You can subscribe at yesweareopenpodcast.com. And last but not least, the Watchmen are not a super group, but they have a super drummer. His name is Sammy Cohn, and he's also a super real estate agent. And if anyone listening has any questions about real estate or drumming for that matter, sammy.cohn, Kohn, at properlyhomes.ca. Write him now. Just write him and say, hey, thanks for sponsoring Toronto Mics. We love the real talk. We love the fun and frivolity. We love it all on Toronto Mic'd, and we thank you for supporting this podcast we love. Okay, Elvis, what were you going to say about Led Zeppelin?
Well, I was going to say the Yardbirds, really, if you want to think about the origins of a supergroup, you could maybe make the argument that Led Zeppelin came from, well, they definitely came from the Yardbirds, but it would be disingenuous to say that they're related beyond just the fact that they came in after everyone else left. But the Yardbirds did include people like Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck, and then of course Jimmy Page. But Jimmy got rid of all of them and then just replaced them with the members of what became Led Zeppelin.
See, okay, so you need at least two bands or two things to formulate to make a supergroup, right? So like I know the Yardbirds I would count. I'm literally gonna be kicking out a band that has a member from the Yardbirds. But what's the other band? And again, if it's an obscure British band that only the musicologists are aware of.
That's what I'm saying, that they're sort of like band one of supergroups. Because Eric Clapton isn't Eric Clapton before he's in the Yardbirds.
Well, Cream was before the Yardbirds. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Elvis. Are you ready to kick out your first supergroup jam?
Oh, this is mine. All right. Woo! Yeah.
Woo!
Perhaps the most surprising.
Took it from me. Oh yeah, you don't like Pearl Jam.
Super surprising, right?
We'll talk about it. Let Eddie go.
I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence.
I love this song. I just want to let the world know that.
Fucking love this song. I love this song.
But I can't feed on it powerless when my cup's already overfilled. Yeah. But it's on the table, the fire's cooking, and the farming babies with slaves are working. The blood is on the table and the mouths are choking.
I'm going hungry.
I don't mind stealing bread.
There's Eddie.
From the mouths of decadence. But I can't feed on the powerless when my cup's already overfilled. But it's on the table, the fire's cooking, and the farming babies and the slaves are all working. And it's on the table, the mouths are choking. But I'm going hungry.
I can listen to the whole song. Elvis, tell me.
Fucking great.
You love this song, but you dislike Pearl Jam. Is that right?
So this is, I thought this was a surprising pick, or would be for the three people who have heard me go off on the
There's four.
most overrated.
You
and
don't like
shitty
Pearl. It's
bands
funny
ever.
because Bob Willett
It's-
was here on Tuesday, and it's his favorite band of all time.
Yeah, I remember last time we were doing something, there was like a live feed somewhere, and people were criticizing me because I said that the three most overrated shitty bands of all time are Pearl Jam, Radiohead, and Coldplay. I hate all
you
three
listen
of
to
those.
AC/DC on your way here. So, like in your mind, in your
Correct.
ears, AC/DC far better than Pearl Jam.
100 times better. 100 times
This
better.
is why music is so subjective.
So this is a surprising pick, even for me. But I do love this song. This is, of course, Temple of the Dog.
Right.
And it's basically Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell.
Well,
and
it's
a couple of the guys from
Mother Love
Pearl
Bone.
Jam.
It's Mother Love Bone and Soundgarden with some surfer from San Diego popping in named Eddie Vedder, right?
Sure.
And then from that, then of course Pearl Jam, because Mother Love Bone plus Eddie, Pearl Jam.
Right. So then this is what I've read about this song. They had one album. What I've read about this song is that this was supposed to be a Chris Cornell song entirely from a vocal perspective.
Right.
And in the studio, he was having a tough time. and Eddie jumped in and said, "Why don't you sing it like this?" And they ultimately kept.
Love it.
They made it a duet. Would you call it a duet? I don't know.
I think it's a duet.
It's a duet, right?
And it's fucking amazing. And it holds up. Like, this thing's from, what, 1991 or something like that? When does it come
for
out?
me, Chris Cornell's one of my top 5 singers. Love Chris.
Great voice. Great voice.
And I think even though I do not like Eddie at all, their voices complement one another very well in this song. I think it's just an amazingly good song.
Okay, no argument from me, because if you didn't pick it, I would pick it. Okay, Temple of the Dog, great selection. There's also that album, which I had that album because I love this song so much. But they had a great jam on that I used to play all the time, Say Hello to Heaven.
Yes, that would be their other
big one.
single, right?
So I'm going to say hello quickly to some people on live.torontomike.com who have come out on their Thursday night to watch us record Festivus, even though I'm not going to drop this episode till tomorrow. So these are the only people. Like, if I die in my sleep tonight, it'll be only these people who witnessed this wonder, because it won't make it to the feed. Okay, that's a great thought. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. So Tobias Vaughn is here. Tobias Vaughn was in Qatar to watch a lot of the World Cup. I saw a lot of photos from, he was at all of Canada's matches, and he was at a whole bunch of other matches. So he's back now, and he's dropping a couple of names. Asia and ELP are a couple of supergroups he hopes he hears. No spoiler. We'll see what we get. I want to say hi to Steve Leggett. Steve Leggett says, I guess he's quoting a great rap song. You say he's just a friend. Here you go. He's talking about how good it is. It's nice to see you all. And I want to shout out Canada Kev. He's the guy who passed me that baguette at the Black Crows that I puffed on. And he says, thank God it's them and not you. So he's paraphrasing Bono's line there from that song. And Cambrio says, hi, Elvis.
Yo, yo.
He says, is Elvis your real name? And he says, like Nicholas Pickles. And we've addressed that earlier, so Cambrio will have to go back and listen to the podcast. Nicholas Pickles, who's still actively working in Buffalo, and he himself is an FOTM. Okay.
Does he call himself Nicholas Pickles still?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
He does. And
A friend of mine started dating someone named Nick, and I called them Nicholas Pickles, and she had no idea what I was talking about.
Well, you should be dating me then, guy. I know these things. Okay. Are you ready for my first supergroup jam?
Hit me. All right. I know what you're talking about here.
Wow. We're not fucking around today.
So this is one. You can keep going.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something.
No.
You started to say something.
I don't want to wreck the song.
What will you do when you get stranded? Nobody's waiting by your side. You've been running without much too long. You know it's just your mood and stride. You got me on my knees, I'm begging, darling, please, darling, won't you hear my
I'll bring her down because I want to bring her back up for the piano coda at the end and talk about that for a moment. But what were you going to say about Layla by Derek and the Dominoes?
This is like one of those iconic songs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think, do you think more people think about this version, or didn't Eric Clapton do a version of this, like when his son died or something?
No, you're
Or is that my thinking
you're
about that something
conflating
else?
two songs that came out in the same period of time. The song for his son who died was called Tears in Heaven.
That's it. Why am I
Well,
confusing
it came
them?
out, they were both like unplugged at the same time.
Yeah, that's what it was, right? Because
He took Layla, he stripped it down, unplugged it, and he kind of you got me on my knees, Layla. Like completely changed it.
My bad.
Like,
But yeah,
this
you're
is
right.
this is the version you
much
and I
better
like.
version. Much better version.
Yeah.
Even though, remember, Unplugged was like a whole thing for a long time.
Pearl Jam, and they didn't release it, but I had a bootleg of Pearl Jam Unplugged. But the best Unplugged of all time probably is Nirvana Unplugged in New York.
That was 94.
But there were a bunch. I had Neil Young Unplugged.
There was tons of them.
Yeah,
and
it
then
was a big
of course, like everything else, it just got overplayed.
You know what other Unplugged I
overdone.
loved was the Alice in Chains Unplugged. Like,
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that one. So.
Yeah. And then Metallica did the whole like thing with the San Francisco Orchestra,
Oh, yeah.
and then that became a thing, right? Where like rock bands would do things with the orchestra, and that didn't
Right.
really. I mean, you got Metallica. I love their stuff, and then you have like. I'm really going on a tangent. I'm sorry.
I like tangents.
And then Guns N' Roses did their thing with November Rain.
Sure, I'm a fucking epic.
But I mean, come on.
You and I went to Guns N' Roses together, right?
We did. And remember, I still remember that show because we kept saying to each other, like, Axl would go off stage at the end of every song. Remember that? He'd finish singing the song, and then I don't know if he's getting oxygen or like
oxygen
Coke or both. But clearly he's not.
But they went like, if I remember correctly, tell me. I remember they went like 3 hours.
They did.
Am I dreaming
They did. Well, I mean, when you're getting something in backstage after every song, yeah, I can't.
And I remember thinking,
how did he do shows with AC/DC for all those months? Like the guy's clearly.
Hold on, piano coda. Okay,
Yeah.
so this will give this a moment, and I'll come back to it. I actually think this is better than the first part. Like, that's how much I like this piano coda.
Such a great song.
But to be discussed.
I have so many questions to ask you about your decision-making process at the end.
All right, and also, what I'm going to do for all my jams is tell you which bands they came. We did that for yours, but like, how is this a supergroup? Like, we need to tell people how Derek and the Dominoes is a supergroup.
Do you have it, or do you want me to pull it up?
No, I have it. Andrew Ward points out that REM had a really good Unplugged, and Canada Kev jokingly is looking for AC/DC Unplugged, but that's impossible.
It doesn't
right?
exist.
Can't
Does not exist.
No, they've never done a ballad, right?
The closest you come to it is shit. It's more of a progressive song. Fuck. Hold on. Don't tell me.
Is it Hell's Bells?
No.
Sink the Pink. Hey, if you're watching at live.torontomike.com, let us know if there's an AC/DC ballad or how close. Can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm not a big fan.
The Razor's Edge.
Okay.
It's
I'll
as
take your word
close
for
as
it.
you can come. It's slower.
You know what I loved, but I was the right age for it when I discovered it. Back in Black. I spun Back in Black like crazy.
I remember to this day in my high school, somebody put AC/DC on one of the outlets, the plugs, in the hallway of my high school. Was it my high school? No, it would have been my grade school, and I thought it was the coolest fucking thing ever. Somebody put AC/DC on the plug.
I have been linked by Canada Kev. I've been linked to a YouTube video. I won't play it only because I'm having a trouble when I play something on the YouTube, having it come through the board or whatever. But it's an unplugged version of "You Shook Me All Night Long."
From Howard Stern.
Is that from Howard Stern?
I think so.
All right. So that exists.
But I mean, that's not really.
All right. Back to Derek and the Dominoes here. They need the spotlight right now. Firstly, Eric Clapton. You mentioned the Yardbirds. He did a few things, but Cream, of course. Cream would be the big Eric Clapton. Look at
I'm laughing because it's an understatement. But yeah, you're right.
So there's Eric. Okay. Then there's a band, and this is the band, but there's another one that'll make it qualify for your rules set. But there's a band I'm not familiar with called Delaney and Bonnie. Okay. I've never heard of Delaney and Bonnie, but 3 members of Delaney and Bonnie are in Derek and the Dominoes. Bobby Whitlock, Carl Rattle, and Jim Gordon. Okay, Jim Gordon's an important name to remember because of this piano coda we're listening to right now. Okay.
Isn't that Cam's dad too?
Yeah. Cam's dad.
grandfather.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And Cam's mom is Bonnie. And Dwayne, here's the other guy. You ready for this? I don't know if you even know this. Dwayne Allman from the Allman Brothers
I had no
is
idea.
in Derek and the Dominoes.
That
so
really
this
is
a
a
super
supergroup.
group. Yeah. So Eric Clapton wrote the first part. This piano part is Jim Gordon. But there is quite a bit of controversy surrounding who really wrote this piano part because Rita Coolidge was Jim Gordon's girlfriend at the time. And there are some publications that suggest that this is actually credited to Rita Coolidge. So I have no idea. I wasn't there. Maybe they co-conspired to create this beautiful piano coda. But this is the only studio album from Derek and the Dominoes, and this is their big jam, Layla, and it's fucking awesome.
It's a great song. Really good song.
Shout out to Martin Scorsese and the Goodfellas soundtrack.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Good one.
Elvis. And
Yeah.
again, I like your jams, you know. Normally you bring me 5 shitty jams, and I'm like, these suck.
They're not 5 shitty
But
jams.
that Hunger Strike I love, and I love this song. You ready?
Yeah.
You going to be playing this on your drive home? It's a driving song.
It's fantastic.
But you have a hard-on for Chris Cornell, and that's because he's a great vocalist. He's a great rock star. And shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Lost him too soon.
So good. Like, it makes me want to cry.
Do it.
Birds and swine bereft of me, long and weary my road has been. I was lost in the cities alone, and the hills, no sorrow or pity, only vain fear.
Listen to that.
I am not your rolling wheels. I am the highway. I am not your carpet ride. I am the sky.
I fucking love this guy, man. Like, it kills me that he. It's a bad choice of words. It just kills me that he.
You miss him.
Addiction is such a
miss him.
fucking bitch, man.
But
like,
addiction or a mental health.
yeah, I mean, you combine the two of them, and it's shitty. But this is, of course, Chris Cornell, lead singer of Soundgarden, along with the members of Rage Against the Machine. That I can't remember what the lead singer guy is, but basically it's Rage.
Well, the lead's not there. Like,
Yeah,
he's not there.
it's Rage Against the
Zacca de
Machine.
la Rocca.
Yeah, it's Rage Against the Machine with Chris singing.
Right.
Chris wrote all the vocals for these guys, and they're all credited with writing the music. They got back together in 2017 and were touring, and then he fucking died. And this, to me, Audio Slave is not like some of the other bands that I've played or that I chose or that I thought of. Like, they are a legit band on their own. You know, like, they have multiple albums, multiple songs.
Sure.
You could go on and play like a
lot of
you
great
could
stuff.
go on and play like a best hits of Audio Slave and sit
Sure.
there for, a couple of hours. Whereas some of these other bands that are quote unquote supergroups, they have one or two
Like
big
Derek
hits.
and the Dominoes has one album.
Yeah, which is, or Temple of the Dog even, right?
Right. And my next one, actually, yeah.
But man, I love these guys. I love, and I hear Morello has a show on Sirius, and he talks about Chris all the time. Like, clearly, these guys loved each other, and they were going to make a lot more music, which it really just sucks.
No, it sucks.
I love Chris
And
so
Cornell
much.
had all those great like acoustic covers.
Oh,
like,
so good. He did Nothing
Billie-
Compares to You.
Billie
and Billie
Jean.
Jean.
Yeah.
Chris is
Yeah,
special.
Nothing Compares to You.
Chris
too,
is
yeah.
special. He's,
Absolutely.
like I said, he's top 5 for me, man. Like, it's Chris, it's Gord, it's Prince, it's Elvis, and it's Freddie Mercury. Those are my top 5 vocalists that I could just spend hours and hours and hours listening to over and over again. And for what Chris just connects with me.
Morello is also part of another supergroup, of course, with my friend FOTM Chuck D. He's in Prophets of Rage, right?
He is.
Hey, I'm gonna
My
quickly.
friend Chuck D.
Well, I
it's
feel
fair.
like
That's fair.
if I DM'd him, he'd reply, and I'd know it was him. Like, it wouldn't be like his fiance or something. Like that.
Fiance.
So, I want to say hello to Hey Ref, who's on the live chat right now as well. And of course, I mentioned Andrew Ward. Good to see you there, buddy. Happy Festivus. Happy Festivus to everybody. Let's go. So when Chris Cornell takes his own life,
Do we
there's
know that for sure, though? Was that confirmed? It was, right?
Yeah, he hanged himself, right?
I thought it was. I thought it was fuzzy at first, as to like whether or not it was an accidental.
No, the
thing.
fuzzier one I think is In Excess guy is a fuzzy one, right? Because it was he was into erotic asphyxiation.
right? Michael Hutchins.
Michael Hutchins, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now I enjoyed In Excess back in the day.
Kick was another playthrough. I'm a big NXS guy.
I did listen to that again recently, and it's
very 80s. But,
but
sometimes you kick, sometimes you get kicked. Come on. He had a bit of that Mick Jagger swagger, though, like a frontman thing going on there. And New Sensation. And I know, sorry. Okay,
he's so good.
At the memorial for Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington sings Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen.
Really?
Right, yes.
Are you a big... Were you a big... no,
Linkin Park.
No.
You're saying Linkin
everyone's a big Leonard Cohen fan.
I was at his mural in Montreal 3 weeks ago.
No, were you upset when Chester died?
Well, that's where I'm going here, man.
Oh, sorry.
So Chester, who is BFFs with Chris Cornell, really tight, he sings Hallelujah at the memorial or the funeral, I guess.
Yes.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. And then on the birthday...
It's such a great thing. I love it.
Chris Cornell's birthday, Chester Bennington takes his own life.
Yeah. Yep.
Like...
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Big deal. There's clearly a lot of stuff going on.
Everybody, if you're going through something, talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody, man.
I would say that Elvis's DMs are open, but he's not on Twitter. You have to hunt him down on another.
A buddy of mine posted about a story about his mom passing away recently on LinkedIn, and I just commented and said, I think I know what you're going through. My only advice is just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Just keep talking about it. To someone, not to yourself, because when you talk to anything about yourself, you can twist things.
I was like, so I mentioned Donovan Bailey earlier, but his co-host Jason Portwanda was over here. He came over earlier because our friend Donovan was late, and we had a long chat. And he's really struggling. And I had a long talk with Jason. But do you know this gentleman named Twitch?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's really like, this is one that's really hit him hard. And I know my wife and my oldest daughter also. It's because there's a presentation on Instagram of this really happy guy with his beautiful family, and he's dancing and making people smile. And it's so hard to like take that image and then understand that he was, struggling with depression, and then he chose to take his own life. Like, it's so hard to rectify all that. So
it's
talk about it. Talk about it.
Just talk about it with someone, people, please.
Absolutely, Elvis.
Someone loves you. And you know what? If you don't think anyone loves you, I love you.
Jesus loves you.
I do. I love you. I love you, Mike.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I believe you love me, but do you love everyone else?
I love the people who are listening to
Do you love Hey Ref?
Yeah, love Hey Ref. I love you,
Hey
man.
Ref. Okay.
Love you.
All right.
I don't know if is he a man? I said I love you, man. I don't know if he's a man.
I assume I am also guilty of assuming gender on Hey Ref.
Come on.
Maybe
they can say.
What do I know? Okay. So this is another, this is all kind of cut from the same cloth, but at least I did Derek and the Dominoes a little earlier jam, and I got some different stuff coming up. But here's my second supergroup jam.
Did we really hit our stride in the 90s or something?
I did Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah, you did.
Okay? So you're the one who's... Although I'm a Highway is post-90s. I think that's 2000s.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah, because Soundgarden was 90s, but I'm Audio Slave is 2000s.
You're right. I just associate.
So we have 3 different decades. Okay, only 2 from the 90s: Hunger Strike and this one. But they're cut from the same grunge cloth. 3 of these jams.
We're wearing plaid right now.
Fucking love grunge, buddy.
Yeah, that's all I listen to.
Ask Monica, who I am stuck in the 90s.
That's all I listen to, man. For the most part, I'll listen.
Can you hit the post on this?
No.
Here it comes.
Can you imagine? I wouldn't be on this podcast if I could.
My pain is self-chosen.
Speaking of great vocalists, okay?
Awesome.
Lane fucking Staley.
Yeah. That guy went hard.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
Some of the stories about him.
Oh, well, yeah. There's an addict. You remember Kay's Choice, Not an Addict? That was a great jam, too. Kay's Choice. Okay. listening to these songs, do you think we're sad, Elvis? Like I'm so into this jam and it's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think we're sad. Do you think we're sad? Is that what you're
Are
saying?
we sad? Like,
no. Why are we sad? We like what we like.
Well, isn't ABBA a supergroup? Like, why are we?
Oh, well, I mean, they're on the things I was going to talk about
okay.
after.
I'm not kicking out ABBA.
No, I didn't either.
Because I didn't know those bands. Okay, so
talk about these guys.
River of Deceit is the song. The band is called Mad Season. They only released the one album, much like my first selection. So, who's in Mad Season that makes them a supergroup? Both Lane Staley is singing this song.
Yeah.
Lead singer for Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Do you know who else is on in Mad Season? Can you name anyone else from Mad Season?
Not off the top of my head. I have the page open, but I'm going to be honest and say I don't remember.
I like honesty. I appreciate honesty on the show. Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That's the second member of Pearl Jam that has appeared in our supergroup countdown.
That's two. So 2 bands have appeared twice. Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, yes?
Well, Soundgarden has only appeared once.
Well, I mean, in the sense that Chris Cornell was a member of Soundgarden and as a member of...
you're absolutely right. You're right.
Audioslave.
I should. Yeah, you're right. You kicked out 2 Chris Cornell. Okay,
and Pearl Jam appeared
twice. Ed Vedder and Mike McCready here. Also,
but there was also other people in this band.
Mad Season. Okay, so Barrett Martin is from. I'm not familiar with Skinyard, but of course I do know Screaming Trees.
Yeah, Screaming Trees underrated. I bought their CD back in the day and totally underappreciated it until
you bought
much
the whole CD
later.
because I had him on the singles soundtrack.
I bought the Screaming Trees CD. I remember.
Also, a lot of you got your friends on there too. Pearl Jam and Chris Cornell's on there with his solo song.
Great.
What was that song called? It was pretty good.
It's really good. Summer something.
No, let me think.
Or is that another song? That's another one.
It was like a sweet little solo ditty by Chris Cornell that appeared. You'll tell me in a minute.
I should know because I have Chris Cornell's Essentials as like a repeat on my
I love the single soundtrack. Fucking great. Okay, it's John Baker Saunders also from the Walkabout. Seasons. Yeah. Great song.
Fucking great song.
Okay, Lane Staley has been replaced in Alice in Chains, and I have seen Alice in Chains live with the new lead singer.
Really?
And it sounds ridiculously similar. But part of the deal with, and not on this song because he's not there, but Jerry Cantrell would do this he would interweave his voice with Lane on a lot of those Alice in Chains songs. So Jerry just interweaves his voice of the new guy, and that tonage that sounds very Alice in Chainsy. Like Jerry Cantrell is sort of a key.
Is it
part
like
of
Journey? Like, can you tell?
Is it like Journey?
Because that is that
here's
Filipino
the thing
kid,
about
right?
The Filipino guy in Journey, though, you don't hear him on the radio. Like you have to see him live.
No,
So it's a different story.
Gotcha.
Like,
and you don't hear what's his name either. The guy from American Idol with Queen.
Oh no, yeah, right. So there are some people who do it in concert and live, but they don't actually get recordings on the radio or whatever like that. Right. But Alice in Chains did have radio hits with the new guy. He Blue, Black and Blue. Anyway, they had a couple of jams that CFOI was playing that I would hear from the new Alice in Chains of the new singer. Okay, I miss Lane Staley. A lot of dead people. By the way, I said this to Bob Willett the other day when he was here because he's a big Pearl Jam guy. Pearl Jam's like the last band we have from that era where nobody's died. Like nobody in Pearl Jam has died, but people, Smashing Pumpkins lost somebody, Hole lost somebody. I mean, Alice in Chains lost somebody. Soundgarden lost somebody. Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots is long gone. Like
Mudhoney.
Mud. That's what, kicked off. The whole thing.
But yeah, Lane Staley. Lane Staley. His death story is crazy.
Is that because it took days to discover him?
2 weeks.
The bank noticed that he wasn't using his bank
It was
card.
manager noticed that nothing had been withdrawn from his account for 2 weeks.
Right.
And he called his mom. And his mom hadn't heard from him either. And so she called 911. And then they found him. But it's not even that. It's that he was 6 feet tall. And he only weighed about 86 pounds when they found him.
It's off addiction.
It's horrible. Horrible stuff.
Awful stuff.
Anyway.
I'm now looking. This will be your third jam, and it also includes another somebody who's no longer with us. So there's a lot of dead people in your jams. Here we go.
So this is Velvet Revolver.
Yes, sir.
Which was a big deal supergroup because in many other supergroups you have like one member who's big. Even Audioslave, Morello never.
Well, Morello's not Slash, but he's still a big fucking deal.
He's a big deal, but he's still sort of like more in the background. That's not even fair to say, but you know what I mean. He's not Slash.
It was a
You
bigger,
had the members of Guns N' Roses minus Axl Rose take Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots and form this massive.
Okay, but it's not all Guns
group.
N' Roses, right? Like, can you name?
And then there is the one other guy from Wasted Youth. So it's Duff McKagan, Slash, and Matt Sorum from
Gunners,
GNR.
Guns N' Roses,
Dave
Guns N' fucking
Kushner
Roses.
from Wasted Youth, and then Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots.
Wow.
And they were together for a lot longer than I thought. 2002 until 2008.
Well, I saw them at the Molson Amphitheater. Like I saw.
Oh, you
these
did?
guys. Yeah, I saw Velvet Revolver.
It was 02
And
to 08.
you know what I liked about Velvet Revolver? Because you got the Velvet Revolver, but then they also did the Guns N' Roses, and they did the Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
Patience, and it was like fucking amazing.
And Scott, I really like Scott's voice as well.
Yeah, me too.
So with these guys, though, I would say their success was a lot more limited than other supergroups in the sense that there's maybe one or two recognizable songs, I would say, even now. They released a number of albums, but they didn't really have any super hits.
You sure?
Right? They have this one.
But yes, this was a big hit.
And
but
there was
they
like-
had a bigger, faster hit before this. Like I'm drawing a blank. I have to go quickly.
Slither.
Yeah,
is what you're thinking
but Slither was a big radio jam. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm not.
But,
So,
I know.
But it's not like they didn't have multiple. Like you couldn't sit down and listen to them for hours at a time. I don't think. So that's my opinion anyway. So good band, awesome people in it. I love what they had, but I would say that they're not the biggest of the supergroups that we've played.
But a big fucking band. And
Big time.
what's his name?
Can you
there?
imagine the rider and all the pomp and circumstance that would go along with getting these guys on stage? Oh my gosh.
Okay, to tie this together a little bit is that at some point they try to replace Scott in because that band Stone Temple Pilots was the brothers, right? Like that was like their band. So
Yeah, and they're still going, aren't they?
Sure, I think Chester Bennington was the lead singer for a while.
Jeez.
Who, of course, it all comes back full circle here. I believe Chester Bennington was the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots for a bit, but I think my memory thinks that happened. So
Jeff Gutt is the new lead singer.
Okay,
whoever that is.
I don't know.
Jeff Gutt. Who's Jeff
I love
Gutt?
Stone. I've seen them several times. I loved Stone Temple Pilots.
He was a former lead vocalist of new metal band Dry Cell.
Okay.
But yeah, the DeLeo brothers.
There it is. It's their band. Yeah,
It's
Tom
their band.
and- yeah.
Yes, and Chester Bennington was the
Right.
lead singer. You're right. I forgot about that.
Never forget. All right. So that is actually much like your I Am the Highway. That's like an early 2000s thing, I think, with Velvet Revolver. But let's kick out some CanCon because I'm looking at our jams so far. There's no Canadian content to speak of. So let's rectify that immediately. Steve wants to know if Wham is a supergroup. Is Wham a supergroup?
No, because they wouldn't have come from groups
No, I
previous.
know. I don't think. Come on.
Where did what's his name go to though? Did he go anywhere? The other guy?
Andrew Ridgely is his name.
Yeah. Did he go anywhere else?
No. And I just want to point out to Kev that Tears Are Not Enough is ineligible. We're not counting these charity groups. So they're not bands. Do you know this song, Elvis?
I can't say that I do. I thought I did.
This is my favorite song from Broken Social Scene.
Oh yes. Yes, I know this song. Tell us more.
They just said the F word right there. Okay. This is going to take a while, so you got your beer, you're comfy, I'll fade this down. I'm going to actually name check the members of Broken Social Scene over the years. Okay, this is like a consortium, like a collective, right? It's really this is just one giant supergroup. Okay,
Hit me.
Kevin Drew was from a band called Casey Accidental. Kevin Drew. Then Brendan Canning. By Divine Right. I've had members of By Divine Right on the show. Head with 2 H's. Shout out to Noah Mintz and Valley of the Giants. So Brendan Canning, you got him there. Okay. I will actually start to cherry pick. I realize there's too many, but let's. Leslie Feist showed up. She's got some solo success. But Emily Haynes. Can you name Emily Haynes' big band? Metric. So Emily Haynes, by the way, Emily's sister is an FOTM, Avery Haynes. But Emily Haynes from Metric and James Shaw from Metric. The people from Stars were members of Broken Social Scene at some point. So you got Amy Milan and you got Torque Campbell, who's an FOTM. You got Bill Priddle from Treble Charger and a whole bunch of other stuff. You got there's a lot going on here. A lot of Stars people. Who else will I pick on here? Julie Penner.
Who's the glue holding it all together over the years?
That would be Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning are the glue.
Gotcha.
They're the glue. They're absolutely the glue. But you got Mitch Bowden. You got from Sons of Butcher and a whole bunch of like.
And is this
Jason Tate from the Weaker Than?
Is this by design?
Yeah, like it was always a come in and out. Like you'd come in and out. I had
Gotcha.
this chat with Torque Campbell. Like you can float in and out of Broken Social Scene as long as like Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning. But it's like a collective, a consortium. But I would say, and Jason Collette, let's not forget him, of course, as well. But this is definitely a super group, in my humble opinion.
Super of supergroups, I would say.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. There's some people in this fucking band. I don't even recognize their name. Like it's like I think you might have been in the band for a little while.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Elvis. You were in this fucking band.
I've been in bands before and not remembered.
I think I'm trying to remember now my Noah Mintz chat, but I believe he. I don't think he produced this song because they had a different. They produced it, but he mastered this record, I believe. So
Gotcha.
Noah Mintz. Noah Mintz takes credit for Brendan Canning's career. So, by the way, you would enjoy the Noah Mintz episode of Toronto Mike because he goes off on Gian Gomeshi, who he went to high school with.
Oh, really?
It's pretty good. Yeah,
Interesting.
It's pretty good.
What is he doing these days?
He's doing a podcast about his. Wise Blood explained it to me as it's for the Persian community.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a member of the Persian community.
Okay.
Which is a fancy way of saying Iranian. Am I saying that right? Iranian, right. Shout out to the Iron Sheik.
I don't think he was Iranian.
No?
I don't think so.
Well, Nikolai Volkov was Ukrainian. I learned that. So
but
he was,
born in the U.S., I believe.
Baltimore or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But can we find out? I think
I'm
the Iron
looking up
Sheik,
Iron
I think
Sheik.
he is Iranian. No?
Oh, yeah, because he was in the... he won
Find out for me. This is important. He won. He was a heavyweight champion of the world like before, I think, WrestleMania 3
He's
or
from
something.
the Imperial State of Iran.
Yeah. Like
I take it back.
And he's buddies of Stu Stone, I think. I mean, who isn't? But Stu's got a connection with the Iron Sheik.
And what did he... he was in the Olympics for Iran.
Okay.
In Mexico.
So the real wrestling.
Yes, but that was also when he... Oh, yeah, he did.
That was 1980,
He carried around a gold medal, but I think the implication was that he was an Olympic gold medalist, but really it was... he won something somewhere else.
Much like we talk about all these rock stars we're kicking out, and thankfully I don't think anyone's actually dead from Broken Social Scene, but we've been kicking out a lot of these bands, and a lot of their members are gone, dead. You know, heroin and all these terrible things.
And you picked a band with like the most amount of members, and none of them are dead.
Right. I don't think any of them are dead.
That's awesome.
Now, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. Similarly, like the wrestling world, the professional wrestling world has like a high death rate. Like there's so many of the wrestlers we grew up with that have died from just also addiction issues, but also like steroids and alcoholism and
Mental
just,
health issues
Just
as well.
the like being on the road, like it's a tough living, like it wears you down or whatever, and it's a tough go. But that's Iron Sheik still with us. So
yeah, surprisingly.
So Elvis,
he's very active on Twitter, and he's
very active and very funny, and he's enjoying his living years.
So I will admit, this one I stretched the rules a little bit.
Okay, I'm looking forward to chastising you for that. I will say my mom loved this song. That's what you need to know about this song.
Who didn't love this song when it came out?
I don't know. It was a bit cheesy, but I mean, whatever.
It's a good song.
Who didn't love this song? I want names. Every generation
blames the one before, and all of their frustrations come beating on your door. I know that I'm a prisoner to all my father held so dear. I know that I'm a hostage to all his hopes and fears. I just wish I could have told him in the living years.
Maybe I picked it because I'm sad about my dad dying. I don't know.
How long's your dad been dead?
2.5 years. It's weird. In the last 6 months, he appeared in dreams of mine almost weekly. It was very strange.
Well, we should talk about this.
Perhaps that's why I picked it. But I like this. I like the song. It also reminds me of, when did this come out? Early 90s, right?
No, I think it's late 80s. Yeah.
So it reminds me of this like time of music that was not where I would generally go to now. And so it reminds me of like a younger, more innocent Elvis. But it's just a good song. I like it. It's just a good song. It's kind of like this song and Boys of Summer reminds me of Boys of Summer. Yeah, reminds me of. It doesn't remind me because I don't need to be reminded. But I think of my son because he talks about it's also a father song, right?
Right.
I think. Anyway, this is a little bit of a stretch, I would say, because it's ultimately Mike Rutherford, who comes from Genesis.
Yes.
Right?
Do you like Genesis? That's a question from Andrew Ward, by the way. I must credit the question asker.
I don't know if I would change the channel if Genesis came on, but I wouldn't actively put them on, like the radio, or listen to a Genesis song on my phone.
I feel like if you were a prog rock Genesis fan, you would be like disgusted at this song.
You think?
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty like cheesy poppy stuff for like, but the sentiment is beautiful.
Clearly, why he left Genesis because he wasn't vibing with what they do. I don't know. Anyway, so the bands that they come from are Sad Cafe and Roachford, which is where this is like,
Okay, but you said you needed at least 2 bands. That
I know. This is
familiar
where I'm
with.
stretching it, right? Because it's really just, and when you look at the personnel over the years, it's really just his band. And he brings in people to come and play with him and stuff.
You're an Apple TV guy, right?
Technically a super group, but really stretching it.
And he has different singers for each song, right? Like this is a guy, am I right? Like All I Need Is a Miracle is a different singer.
Yeah.
All I Need Is a Miracle.
Yeah. That's really their 2 most popular songs.
Are you handsome? Do you watch anything that's on Apple TV?
Not really.
There's a series.
Hold on 1 second. Here's what pushed me over the edge in terms of saying like, hey, yeah, these guys are legit. They have 9 albums. So these guys have, all the way up until 2019.
Away. So, okay, I have lots of ground I want to cover here. Quickly, I'll just reference that there's a series on Apple that I've been watching called 1971.
Oh, okay.
And I'm digging it. And they play the original Land of Confusion because that's a cover. Do you know that? Genesis Land of Confusion is a cover? Yeah. Anyway, they play the original in that song. So, but your dad, back to your dad. So your dad, your dad's showing up in dreams.
Yeah.
Like, is that just
on a weekly basis?
You're missing him?
I don't know.
Like you want to chat with him and you can't?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think I do. We didn't have a bad relationship. We didn't have a great relationship either.
But would you, when he was alive, would you chat with him about things that were bugging you?
No,
or?
Sometimes we go like a month, 2 without talking. Not because, of any reason other than just that wasn't our relationship. But I don't know what it is. But I think I never associated this song with my dad, but when I was doing the research for this, I was like, oh, yeah, this song, yeah. This is a song that if it came on, I would keep on and turn up. That's also dating me because who listens to the fucking radio anymore?
By the way, just catching up on this vibrant chat here.
Oh, good. Great.
The Iron Sheik had a close relationship with cocaine.
Yeah. So used to or still does?
Used to.
Based on his tweets, I would say might still.
And as we go, Canada Kev says, not the same dad from No Son of Mine, because that was a big Phil Collins song, right? No Son of Mine. Was that Genesis or Phil Collins?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Okay, so Mike and the Mechanics, Living Years, a song my mom loved, and good for you. But so the term we use on Toast and Pandemic Fridays before that would be if there was an obvious pick and nobody would pick it, at the end we'd say, oh, it got Hanson. Like that term came from the fact that we did a few topics where an obvious pick would be Hanson, and none of us picked Hanson. Like we literally did like brothers bands or something, and no one picked Hanson, and we did boy bands, and no one picked Hanson. Anyway, this song, I didn't want it to get Hanson. You ready?
Yeah. This might be the song. One of the songs.
No, it's not. It's like it's not the radio edit. It's a longer version.
This is, yeah.
And it's also not the first single, Handle With Care. This is the second single. Like I said, an extended version. So wait for it.
Well, it's alright. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's alright. If you live the life you please. Well, it's alright. Doing the best you can. Well, it's alright. As long as you lend a hand. You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring. End of the line. Waiting for someone to tell you everything. End of the line. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. End of the line. Maybe a diamond ring. Well, it's alright. Even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's alright.
Love it. Okay, what a supergroup. This is the supergroup, okay? Wow.
It's crazy. How did this happen?
How did this happen?
This is the one of two bands I omitted from my list because...
Okay, so it was too obvious?
Not that it's too obvious, but these two, this band and another, are just in a class of their own.
Okay, so let's name check the members of the Traveling Wilburys.
You may know them.
And they had 2 albums. But
2? I thought it was 1.
There's a Traveling Wilburys Volume 3.
Yes. But isn't it...
Which came out in 1990. And Volume 3, of course, is missing the somebody who died after Volume 1. So there's no Volume 2. It's all very confusing because the follow-up to Volume 1 is Volume 3, which is like when you go to the movies to see Leonard Part 6.
Right.
And you're like, I got to see the first 5. This was great. And then you're disappointed. Okay, so... somebody died. In fact, this video does not feature one of the Traveling Wilburys because he died before they filmed this video, and therefore there's like, when his part comes on, I think they show like a picture of him or something like that, or maybe his sunglasses or something. But let's get to this. This is a big fucking jam. You ever heard of George Harrison?
Rolling Stones?
George Harrison, believe it or not, a member of the Beatles. The Beatles, those 4 mop tops from England. George Harrison is in this band. I believe when he had his comeback with like Cloud 9. You remember Cloud 9? I actually owned it. It was like his big comeback album.
yep.
I should have done homework. I think that was produced by Jeff Lynne. Okay, that's how my memory has it. But
Jeff Lynne had a really substantial place at his Hall of Fame induction.
so I believe Jeff Lynne produces it. And I believe Jeff Lynne maybe produces the Tom Petty stuff too, and he had his big comeback too with all that Free Fallin' and all that. Okay, so let me quickly name check the rest of the Traveling Wilburys. George Harrison from the Beatles,
Huge.
Bob Dylan,
Huge.
solo artist. Tom Petty,
Huge. Huge.
Jeff Lynne,
Huge.
from the Electric Light Orchestra, and
Huge.
Roy Orbison,
Huge.
who died. You know, he
Very
dies
short-lived.
before they filmed this video. He was kind of in the crux of a big comeback,
Huge.
huge comeback.
Partially because of Julia Roberts.
Pretty Woman soundtrack,
Yeah.
and then he had that album. Anything she wants, you got it.
Yeah,
and
and
Mystery
then Katie
Girl.
Lang.
Because Q was playing all this new stuff by and it was a really good album actually. And then he up and dies. Like I think he's like 54 when he dies. Like he's like young.
He was signed by Sam Phillips of Sun Records, which
Yes, sir.
who also signed Elvis right around the same time in '56. He was
Well, can you
signed
name
by
can you name the $1 Million Quartet?
Elvis,
Yeah.
Roy,
I actually
Johnny Cash, and the guy who just died, Great Balls of Fire guy.
see. I don't think Roy is in the $1 Million Quartet. I don't think he's in it. I think
Or
it's
it might
Carl,
be the guy who
it's
did
Carl Perkins.
Yeah, Carl Perkins. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
and Jerry
You're
Lee
right.
Lewis,
You're right.
Carl Perkins, Johnny
And-
Cash, and
Elvis.
Elvis Presley. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
But to me, the Traveling Wilburys is one of the quintessential. When you think of super bands or supergroups,
Supergroups.
Why do I keep saying super bands?
Yeah, this is
Supergroups?
yes.
This is the band.
100%.
One of the two. This is the
And you know,
probably not bigger than the other one, but more like modern day gravitas.
yeah. Well, let's face it. When I think of a supergroup, this is actually the first band I think of. Like these, like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne,
crazy.
Roy Orbison.
How did this happen?
I think they're all hanging around in like California. Maybe Petty's album's coming out and Lynn is producing it, and maybe he's hanging out in George Harrison's buddies with Lynn. He pops by, and then maybe they're like, "Hey, Bob Dylan's down the street. Bring him here. We're jamming." And who knows how Roy gets in there? I think it's just
crazy.
like, "Hey, let's do something together."
I think what's his name knew a lot of people.
Jeff Lynne. He's like
Yeah,
I think he's like the glue. Like I think he does.
But Tom Petty too. Tom Petty
Sure.
knows a lot of people.
and he was
or
like
knew
the,
a lot of people.
I'm choked up here. He's like the kid in this group,
I
right?
fucking love Tom.
And
Petty.
then let's also review though, because we're down to two, okay,
Yeah.
and one's in his 80s. So George Harrison, of course, gone too soon. Roy Orbison, he didn't even get to the filming of this video. Okay, Tom Petty, there was a shocker.
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
lost Tom.
Yeah, that
because,
was brutal.
That was a shocker.
Great documentary about him.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, great
It's
documentary.
like 4 hours long, but it's
But
damn
it's great.
good.
It is
damn
great.
good.
So we're down to Bob Dylan, who I think is like 82 or something, 81,
Yeah.
82. And
Jerry Lynn or
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne.
and Jerry's
Jerry
his
Lynn.
brother, I think. So. Okay, how is your brother Jerry Seinfeld
He's
doing?
good. He's doing well. He's doing well.
All right, brother, you will be here all night. So let's get to your final jam. Any words to say before I kick it out, or you just want to listen and then we'll talk?
I like this song.
Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise. Run in the shadows, damn your love, damn your lies. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear
So I'm not a huge fan of country. But here, if you were to, I already said who my top 5 vocalists are, and they're all men. Yet here I am choosing a group of 4 country superstars covering a very risky song, I think. Not only because we just had a recent passing of somebody from this group.
Right, Christine McVie.
But also because this is just an iconic song.
For sure.
By an iconic band and sung by an iconic female singer. However, this is the High Women, a play on a male version, a male super country group. And admittedly, I only know 2 out of the 4 members.
Okay, name check them all. I'll tell you if I know 'em.
Brandy Carlisle.
Yep, I know her.
Is an amazing singer, I think. I really enjoy her. I know Maren Morris only because she's had a few pop hits that my daughters really like. I can't remember the song.
I know the name from
she's
Grammy
more,
Awards.
Yeah,
or
she's more poppy than she is country, I would say, but she sort of does like the reverse of the Taylor Swift, I think. I don't know. Maybe she does the Taylor Swift thing because Taylor Swift came from a country background, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you've got Natalie Hemby.
Do not know that name.
And Amanda Shires. Amanda Shires is an amazing fiddler. Okay. She plays the fiddle at the end of this song.
I like the fiddle.
And so...
Shout out to Kendall Carson, my favorite female fiddler.
They've all had success independently. A bunch of them have won awards as well. But this is a sort of a super group amongst...
Well, it's definitely a super
music.
group, but did they release an album?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They've released 1 album and 3 singles, I believe. 5 singles. Honorary member Sheryl Crow of this band. There you go.
Wow.
If they weren't super before, they are after that.
Sheryl fucking Crow.
There, for those of you
also great duet with the great Kid Rock.
For those of you at home, it's worth a Google to find this live version that they recorded in Howard Stern's studio. It's quite good. The visuals are quite good as well. I like watching live music. But they do well. I like the song.
It's great. Yeah, The Chain is a great song. It's a
The
good
Chain
cover.
Train's a great song.
So here, we're going to roll right out of your jam into mine, okay? So
do it.
Here we go.
Those vocals at the end, so good.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride.
Look at that.
Sword and
Look at what you did there. Well done.
I did that.
Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade.
Well done.
Many a soldier
Did you plan that
shed his life
after you saw my list?
blade.
I changed my order based on your list.
Very good.
Masters hung me in the spring of 25.
I was going to close with the Wilburys, but
I am still alive.
I saw the High Woman on your list.
I was a sailor.
Sailor.
Born upon the tide.
I don't actually know all the members of this band.
This is a super group, brother. What a super group. I'm going to get to it in a minute.
I went aloft to furl the mainsail in a blow. And when the yards broke off, they said that I got killed. But I'm living still. I was a dam builder across a river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into the wet concrete below. They buried me
in that great tune that knows no sound. But I'm still around. I'll always be around.
This song was covered by Danny Graves at TMLXX. He performed Highwayman acoustic Under the Night Sky, and it was beautiful. You would have loved it. Okay, I'm going to name check the members of the Highwaymen here.
You may recognize these guys too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the country. This is like the Avengers. Like, you know, this is
the country version of the Wilburys.
It's amazing. Yes, absolutely.
Right, because the Wilburys are rock.
Yeah.
These guys are country.
This is the biggest country supergroup.
Yeah, it's huge when you hear these names.
Johnny Cash.
Who?
Unbelievable. Johnny Cash is in this band. Waylon Jennings. And if you're not sure if you know any Waylon Jennings, you probably do. But you know what you definitely do know? Just a good old boys, never meaning no harm. That Dukes of Hazzard theme is Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, it is.
And he's the guy, and in fact, I know he's the guy. He's the guy who lost the coin toss or whatever, drew the short straw, and wasn't allowed to fly with Buddy Holly and Big Bopper and Jesse
yes.
and Richie Valens. He had to take the bus, which means he got to survive the day the music died.
But he froze his ass off.
He froze his ass. Yeah, it was cold in that bus. This is North, this was like Dakota or something, North Dakota or something. Anyway, they're like minus 45 right now. Okay. Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson.
Legend.
Still with us, by the way.
He is.
As of 9:14 p.m. Okay. Chris Christopherson.
Yeah, that's
big.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's big.
That is a huge, huge band.
That's a massive band. That's a super group for you. Unbelievable. And they released, I think, 3 albums in total.
Yes.
But this was their big smash hit.
So we did not pick what many people would say is the most, I don't know how to describe them, but the perhaps most obvious supergroup of all time, the biggest supergroup of all time.
Okay, slow down. Now I want to guess. Is this an American group? Is this a British group? Where are they from?
They're not American.
They're not American. Okay. The biggest supergroup. Do you got any clues for me?
We've played one of the members at least once, I think, or we talked about him at least. Did we play him? Did we play him? I can't remember.
Okay, we talked about him. That's a little tough there. What decade? 70s? 60s? 60s. So I'm gonna guess the guy because I considered playing a jam from them. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, but that is American except for Neil Young, who's Canadian.
That would be another big band that was not
another
chosen,
one,
but not the one I'm thinking of.
Different.
When you look at most lists, Wilburys and Cream.
See, I didn't do that. Did you do that? I purposely didn't want to look at the list.
I'm looking at them now.
Okay. So give me a clue.
I kind of sort of started the name, but this band and the Wilburys sort of flip-flop 1 and 2.
Wow.
They're a British band, old school. One guy is the guy who had significant success after as well.
Oh, David Cloverdale is the guy. You're talking about Deep Purple.
No.
Okay, tell me. I give up.
Cream.
Okay,
Jack
yeah,
Bruce,
we did
Eric
kick out Eric
Clapton,
Clapton because he's in Derek and the
Ginger
Dominoes.
Baker.
Right.
3 iconic guys who came together, and they're credited with, forget about whether or not they're the biggest or the best or whatever, they're credited as the first supergroup. I would argue that they're also one of the best. And so in my mind, when I sat down to put together the list, I said, I'm not going to choose any songs from Cream or Traveling Wilburys because it's too... obvious isn't the right word.
And also, these are your favorite jams. Like,
right.
I mean, I can actually only off the top of my head think of like one big Cream song. Like, I know that's going to be sacrilege and people are going to be very upset with me, but like, these are not like big top 40 North American hits coming out of there. Right?
I'm looking up here. I mean, I mean, you have to be of a certain vintage, I would suggest.
White Room, right, Crossroads, but the one I always think of is Sunshine of Your Love. Like, that's the one I always think of.
Yep.
But, they have a song called Strange Brew, which is a great movie, and you should listen to the Dave Thomas episode.
So they had, I mean, and the 60s were such a prolific time for a lot of bands. They had 4 albums in 4 years, right? So 66, 7, 8, and 9.
Well, look, I just did an episode about the Guess Who, and then it seems like they were putting out like 2 or 3 albums a year for a
insane.
while. Like
it's insane.
Like, and the Beatles were doing that too in the first half of their career, particularly.
So,
Elvis, what were you going to say there?
I was just going to say, Eric Clapton is the only person alive from that band.
Yeah.
As well. He's the only one left.
Is he an anti-vaxxer?
I don't know.
I heard he might.
I might
be
listen to Layla on the way home.
Which version?
The Eric Clapton one, now that I've heard the
but
Derek and the Dominoes one.
Well, yeah, okay. The unplugged.
Yeah, the unplugged one.
And don't forget the song about his dead kid. That was a sad story.
Yeah.
His kid fell out of a window. Like, it's tragic.
Is that what? I don't even remember.
He was like
I remember this
4th floor window apartment thing, and he fell out.
We should do one where it's like songs that are for dead people, because then we could also do the Elton John one.
Yeah, that was for Norma Jean.
Candle in the Wind.
Yeah, for Norma Jean.
No. I'm
he
thinking
remade
of
it.
he remade it for Princess Di.
I know.
But would that count as 2? Could we play that twice?
Yeah. You could play it twice. You could play it twice.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of good songs for dead people.
Yeah, sure.
What's the Mark Cohn song, Walking in Memphis? Is that a song for Elvis?
You know who does a really good cover of that is Cher.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded a plane.
Cher's on my top 10.
There's a good
vocalists.
dance version of that too that I was digging. And like,
love Cher's voice.
I like Cher, yeah.
She has a great voice.
And she didn't need the auto tuner on Believe.
Well, maybe she did.
Although she got to number 1 with that. So.
She's getting up there.
Elvis, happy Festivus, buddy.
Happy Festivus, my friend. May you win the feats of strength. May the tinsel not be distracting. And may you have the space and time to air your grievances without retribution.
And may it not be another year before I see you again. Let's make sure we do something before then.
COVID's over now, right?
I don't know. It is over for me. I got rid of it a week ago.
You can make it with
only had it, as far as you know, you've had it once, right?
Officially, yes. I'm sure I've had it before, though.
We only know.
I don't know.
See, as far as I know, I've only had it once, and it felt like, for me, it felt like a bad cold. Like, I never got the fevers, and I never got the bed stuff. I never missed a bike ride. Like, I biked through it. I just felt congested.
I couldn't.
Monica too, but
sucked.
Monica got it, and she was in bed for a bit and had some fevering. Fever for me, because she's got Toronto Mike fever. Don't you know?
Oh, dear.
Great fun. Supergroups, let us know. I don't know. Tweet at me.
Did we miss anyone? Did we, I mean,
I don't know. I didn't
there was
look at
a
any
few
lists.
other ones I had here on the list that I could have mentioned.
You picked a few I was thinking of. Like, I was thinking right away of Velvet Revolver. I was thinking of Audio Slave, and I was thinking of Temple of the Dog. Like, those 3 I thought of right away.
That's kind of like where we are in our mindset, right?
Yeah. Stuck in the... But then I said... Traveling Wilburys, Highwaymen.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer is another one that we didn't play.
Right, and I wanted to get some CanCon
ABBA.
in there. See, ABBA, I know ABBA is a supergroup, but to me, if I don't know the bands they were in previously...
I was just going to... But they don't really count, though, right? Because... Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
I'll give you the top 10 from Rolling Stone.
Okay, go.
Because Rolling Stone, in my mind, is still relevant, even though they're not. Bad Company, number 10.
Okay, see, there's a good example. Bad Company is a supergroup, and I only think of one song from Bad Company. Does
Audio
it Feel
Slave,
Like Making Love? Is that them? Feel Like Making Love.
Yep.
Feel like making love to you.
It's such a great song.
That's a great song.
Audio Slave, number 9. Played them.
Okay.
The Highwaymen, number 8.
Did it.
Played them. Mad Season, number 7. Played them. Number 6, Blind Faith. Another Eric Clapton band. So it was basically
for me.
Cream with Traffic, Steve Winwood from Traffic, and Rick Gretsch from Family.
No, Blind Spot for me.
Number 5, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Definitely.
Number 4, Them Crooked Vultures.
Yeah, okay,
there you go. We totally missed them,
John
right?
Homme's in that,
Yeah, John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, and then Dave Grohl, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
That's a good one.
That's a
good one.
That's a big miss. Temple of the Dog. Not a miss, because we just didn't, like them enough to put them on there. Cream, number 2, and then Traveling Wilburys, number 1.
Temple of the Dog, Cream, and then, okay. Very good, Elvis.
Right? Nothing too crazy there. Mike and the Mechanics was a little bit, out there, but
give him something to talk about.
It's 1 out of 5.
Did you know the woman who wrote "Give Him Something to Talk About," which was a big hit for Bonnie Raitt?
Yeah,
she just passed away. She's Canadian. She
Really?
died like a week ago.
Oh, what's her name? You don't know.
You Google it while I do my little thing here.
Yeah, you do.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,175th show. Recorded on December 22, dropping on December 23rd for Festivus. I'm running out of song. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Elvis isn't on Twitter. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Sticker U is at Sticker U. Moneris at Moneris. Raymond James Canada at Raymond James CDN. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. Ridley Funeral Home at Ridley FH. Canna Cabana at Canna Cabana _. Sammy Cohen Real Estate at Sammy Cohen. See you all next week.
Shirley Eckard.